Good evening, everybody, and welcome to this week's edition of the Mike Brey Show. I'm Jack Nolan, joined once again by the head coach of the Fighting Irish. And Mike, both ends of the spectrum for your team this week. An outstanding road win Sunday night at Miami and a disappointing home loss last night against Virginia Tech.
Love what we did in Miami on the road, Jack, and really proud of our group, but we just couldn't make it a 2-0 week, and we've not been able to do that. Virginia Tech defended us like they did in Blacksburg. We tried a little bit of everything to get our offense going. Nothing worked.
And you've been trying a little bit of everything all year, and you took quite a gamble down in Miami, starting the blue team, the scout team against Miami, but the move paid off with one of your team's best performances of the year.
I think what we've tried to challenge our guys, and we got great kids, and I love them to death, is just their competitive level being up more on a daily basis. And I think it has been, since the Virginia road swing, going into the Boston College game. But it wasn't great the day before the Miami game, at least by the white shirt group. And that's why I thought the blue shirt group earned a chance to start. Everybody handled it very well, especially the guys who have been starting. And, it was neat to see a thorough, total, everybody involved team win.
Now, adding the 19 assists you had at Miami, your team dished out 40 assists during the two-game winning streak, achieving a consistent rhythm on offense that had been lacking at times this year.
Yeah, we have not been able to achieve that consistently. We had it in those two games. We certainly had it the other night, and we have not been able to do it against the better teams in the league, the top of the league. That's kind of that's the next step for this group that we keep trying to do. Can we get an offensive rhythm going against really good defensive teams? You couldn't do it against Virginia Tech, certainly.
Everybody in the country knows about the Virginia pack line defense, but they're also a little like you. They don't foul a whole lot. I think they're third in the country in fewest fouls, and you're first. But last night, I'm looking at Virginia Tech. Not only did they look like they were playing the pack line defense, but they added a whole lot of physicality to it.
Their ball pressure is Florida State-like, and athletic, strong, quick guys, switching stuff, and we just, had no answers. Again, from the defensive side of it, they scored 62 points and shot 40% from the floor. That's probably good enough. That's about all we're going to get out of our defense. But we couldn't find any rhythm, and I give a lot of credit to Virginia Tech because different lineups, different looks, different sets. I think what happens is their physicality defensively really wears you down mentally and physically, and I think our kids were.
Now, stuff happens during a season. Injuries happen, and Tech was without a starter last night. So it's not an excuse that Cormac Ryan couldn't play because of the foot injury he suffered against Miami, but that certainly didn't help you last night.
No, there's no question. I mean, that's what happens in college basketball, especially this time of season. And he played all through the Miami game after twisting it early in the first half. But it's really sore, and we couldn't get anything out of him. And there's no question, you could have used another ball handler that could maybe go off the dribble some when they take away passing lanes and all other things.
Prentiss Hubb, always aggressive, but if there's a bright spot coming out of Virginia Tech, it was Prentiss's third straight outstanding game. In fact, he kept you in the game with 17 first-half points on the way to a game-high 22.
Well, the young man is a fighter, and I have the utmost respect for him. And, he looked around and said, I'm going to have to kind of put us on, my back, which he's had to do at times. And, he's trying to figure out, who's going to be in there with me offensively. And we had that the two previous games. So then he can be a little more of a distributor. But to his credit, last night, he just had to make plays. He forced some plays. He turned it over. He charged, but it was almost the only thing we could get. And thank God he kept us at least within striking distance at halftime.
And Prentiss, after the game, wore the mantle of the captain and met with the media, and he's going to join us later in the show, and I'm looking forward to talking with him. Now, Mike, the current focus remains firmly on this season, but this crazy pandemic year is also the lead-in to next season, when the reigning Ivy League Player of the Year, Paul Atkinson, will join a senior class with a lot of talent, a lot of potential, and a lot still to achieve in their fourth year on campus. And I would imagine what this team does the rest of this season has a big impact on what they can do next season.
Well, there's no question, maybe because it's COVID and also because Paul Atkinson will join us and this junior class has one last go at it. You know, you do peek ahead sometimes and look and say, boy, it'd be really neat for those seniors to go out playing in the NCAA tournament. So my mind goes to that a bunch this last month. And having said that, you know, we've got a number of games still to play. I hope, and you know, we've got to use them the right way to get better and to figure out who's going to help us, not only in the future of this season, but next season.
Folks, our friends at NECA want to remind you that they are continuing their efforts to make our community brighter. It's what NECA electrical contractors do every day through donations, volunteer efforts, and by training the next generation of electrical workers through apprenticeship programs. The NECA contractors and electrical workers of Local 153 preparing for a brighter tomorrow. Mike, before we wrap up this segment, I want to talk about something that didn't just get lost in your loss to Virginia Tech, but it got lost in that nobody's wearing suits this year. But the Virginia Tech game was your suits and sneakers night for Coaches versus Cancer. Again, no suits, but you wore special face masks. And you've raised so far in your 2 decades here at Notre Dame right around $3.5 million, 80% of which stays right in the community.
Well, yeah, we didn't have the suits and sneakers, but we had the face masks. And as you know, Jack, Coaches versus Cancer has been, you know, close to my heart. And for 20 years in this community, it's been so supportive. And to raise that money and to be able to sponsor some grants over at the Harper Cancer Center with the money we've raised makes you feel good. And I think certainly COVID has taken over the world. But, you know, before COVID, I think it was cancer that we were fighting and making progress, and probably still are. We just don't talk about it as much in the midst of the pandemic.
Well, we're going to contain the pandemic before we contain cancer. So thanks for all you do. I've been honored to be a small part of your events every August. Folks, when we come back, we will review Notre Dame's win at Miami and the Irish's home battle with Virginia Tech after this first time out on the Mike Brey Show, presented by TireRack.com, the ultimate in contactless tire buying. It's time now for our game breakdown, brought to you by our friends at Meijer. Did you get everything you wanted by changing the starting lineup at Miami?
You know, I did, Jack. I think I did. We had everybody on their toes and awake. And you know what was really neat to see? The guys that didn't start, that had been starting, root for and pull for the blue shirts that started. That was a really neat team dynamic that you're never sure is going to be there when you do something like that. But we have great kids, as you know, and they were really supportive. And then they came off the bench and really played well. So I thought maybe it was a good teaching moment. We all learned something about ourselves that night.
And the blue team, which included 3 first-time starters, played really hard. They did struggle shooting, starting 1 for 7, but the one was the last shot the group took, a 3 by Nick Jogo that allowed the blue team to leave the floor after 4 minutes, down just 6-3. That was a huge shot by Nick.
We needed something to go in. You know, that group wasn't sure who they were offensively. And that's okay, you know, but Nick threw one in, and then we got those other 4 guys in and let them play with Cormac Ryan for a while. And we kind of started to find a rhythm in the first half.
Another big thing early, you switched to a 2-3 zone on the last defensive possession for the blue team, switched back to it on the second defensive possession for the white team, and ended up staying in it for most of the game. And it really hampered Miami's offensive production and rhythm.
Well, it really helped us, Jack. There's no question about it. And you know, they had some trouble playing against zone, so we figured we'd get to it. And there's one of those nights where you get to it early and you just stay in it. And, sometimes I wonder if that's what our base defense should be the rest of the year, something to really think about. But there's no question we played it together. We talked through it. We got deflections. We got our hands on stuff. And that helped us on the offensive end because we were coming down in the numbers advantage in transition.
Now, Miami led 15-14 with Hubb and Durham combined on a very nice screen and roll that triggered a 13-3 run with 7 of the points scored by Juwan to give you a 9-point lead and control of the game.
Well, Hubb, I thought for the second straight game, amazingly focused on both ends of the floor and really was running things. And it was great for Juwan. We were able to get him over the top on some ball screen roll stuff. And he is a big target. And Trey and Cormac and Prentiss, who are really good passers, they're able to find him over the top sometimes. And we were able to do it a bunch on Sunday night.
Prentiss always responds to being challenged. He always shows up when the lights are brightest. He also always plays well when he's ticked off. And he was ticked off by not starting, and he channeled that into one of his best performances of the year.
Prentiss is a guy that, when you hold his feet to the fire a little bit, he really rises to the occasion. And I love coaching him. And he is a tough guy. He wants to win. He wants to lead. And I thought he, again, was kind of the straw that stirred the drink for us on Sunday night in Miami.
One of those big plays was a deep 3 from the top of the key in the final minute of the first half that gave you an 8-point lead. And as good as he was in the first half, even better in the second half, scoring 11 of his 19 points in the second stanza and dishing out 6 of his game-high 9 assists. And I know we named him the Radio Network Player of the Game, and he tweeted out that he was feeding his big guys. His big guys were eating. He takes a lot of pride in setting up other folks to score.
He really does. He's really got a high basketball IQ. He really understands the game, and he likes getting everybody involved. And it was neat to see our big guys deliver and get some angles to the bucket.
And the other guy who really took over in the second half was Nate Laszewski, who scored 13 of his 16 points and grabbed 6 of his 10 rebounds in half number 2.
He continues to have a really good year for us, Jack. I'm thrilled with the development and improvement for him. And, people have really chased him off the 3-point line. He can't sneak around out there anymore because he's been shooting such a high clip. So he's done a better job of driving and rolling to the bucket and getting stuff around the bucket and getting fouled.
I know you were looking to continue the offensive rhythm your guys got into against BC, and you did with 19 assists on 28 field goals. It was the same assist to field goal ratio that you had against BC.
Yeah. Again, it's 2 games in a row where your offense was playing in a good rhythm and sharing the ball and taking what the defense gave you. We have not been able to find that enough consistently this year. To see it in 2 games in a row made you feel like maybe you got something going.
And it's been more likely this year that you are good in the first half offensively and you tail off in the second half, but not this game against Miami. It was your best second half of the season, 65% shooting from the floor and 71% from 3. You're going to win a lot of games when you do that.
Well, when you make open shots, you're hard to beat. And we do have a group that I think when they get really good shots, they're going to make them most of the time. But we also have a really unselfish and pretty good passing team. And, they continually found each other for really easy looks.
So the Irish packed their 73-59 win over Miami onto the plane for the long flight back to South Bend to get ready for a Wednesday rematch with 20th ranked Virginia Tech. Now, Mike, unfortunately, Cormac Ryan could not play against the Hokies because of a foot sprain he suffered at Miami. And the Hokies came in with a physical defense that absolutely refused to let your guys get into the paint.
Jack, it's really 2 games against Virginia Tech. I have the utmost respect for them as a team and a defense. And their ball pressure and their physicality, really, for the second game, we couldn't get any rhythm at all. We had 9 turnovers in the first half. We tried a little bit of different lineups, different looks, and we really couldn't get anything. Every time we even had an angle to the bucket, an athletic recovery and block shot by them, it's almost demoralizing. And so, again, for us, we held them to 62 points on 40% shooting. That's about as good as our defense is going to be against a team like that that's gifted offensively. But, we just couldn't find anything offensive. And I think their physicality kind of wears you down mentally and physically throughout a game.
It was one of your better defensive performances of the year, which of course is lost in the loss, but you need that to win. And you need your main guys to play well. And you really had that too. Prentiss Hubb had his third straight outstanding game, and he kept you in the game. 17 first half points, including 3 threes on the way to a game high 22.
He looked around and nobody else was really going, and we tried to, and he tried to get him involved. And so he said, okay, I'll do it. And that's what he's done a lot, probably too much. He's had to do that too much for us this year. But I have the utmost respect for the kid because he just is fighting and scratching and trying to help his team whatever way possible.
Just about any team that's halfway decent on defense can take a guy out of the game. You guys do it a lot, and Tech took Nate Laszewski out of the game. They limited him to 4 shots. He made 3, but other than getting a little frustrated with the foul situation because he got called for some chippy ones, he fought hard all game, and he grabbed a game-high 10 rebounds.
He is a fighter. We couldn't find anything for him to get going. We tried to post him a little bit against the guard. They did a great job taking that away. His driving areas were taken away by speed. He got a couple things on the backboard, and when he can't score or get into a rhythm, it's going to hurt our team. Having said that, Nate only knows one way to play. He plays really hard. He plays very physical. He did get a couple cheap calls. I thought it was not a great night for him on that end of the court, but we're going to need him to score to beat anybody, not just ranked teams.
In the second half, your guys started to aggressively attack the paint, and it led to 10 free throws, and you ended up basically playing Tech even in the second half. The hole was too deep, but is that something this team needs to be more consistent at doing when they face that kind of defense?
Yeah, I think so, Jack. And I didn't do as good a job as I could in preparation. And, we really maybe can't post as much. Do we just keep the floor open, swing it? And our thing in the second half was swing it and drive, and see if you can get fouled. And we did. But we couldn't get any of that in the first half. We tried to go to the low post a little bit, the Juwan, that helps us. But he couldn't. He had a tough night finishing. And so anyways, I think, it's something to think about moving forward against any team, just, spreading out the floor, especially when Nate's the only big and he's not posting. He's outside the arc, and we're moving and we're ready to drive the basketball.
For a variety of reasons, it's been a very challenging season. One of the big reasons is you have played the 9th toughest schedule in the country, the toughest schedule in the ACC, and you're pushing every button, looking at every option you have. And in the second half, you put Tony Sanders in, and he played really, really well. He gave you 10 really good minutes, and I would imagine he might have earned some more playing time.
He gave us some great energy. He's athletic, and obviously their athletic ability was bothering us. And he's been on my mind because he's been practicing really well and battling, but not really getting much playing time. But I think moving forward, everybody's available. You just got to keep everybody ready to go. But I liked what he gave us.
So Virginia Tech snaps Notre Dame's 2-game winning streak with a 62-51 win in Purcell Pavilion. We'll be back with more on the Mike Brey Show, presented by TireRack.com, right after this timeout. Fort Wayne's V.J. Beachem was a key part of a Notre Dame men's basketball class that won 97 games, an ACC championship, and went to back-to-back NCAA Elite Eights. He finished his career ranked 6th in games played at Notre Dame and scored 1,215 points during his Notre Dame career. VJ has played 3 seasons in the NBA G League, most recently for the Windy City Bulls. Earlier today, Coach Brey caught up with Mr. Beachem.
VJ Beachem from Fort Wayne, Indiana, but now in Seattle. Catch us up with what's going on in your life.
For sure. Well, before COVID, you and I had a couple conversations about moving on from the game. And then the perfect storm hit, COVID hit, some different things going on with the European market as far as playing overseas. And I was connected with Amazon, actually, went through the interview process, and that went very, very well, and ended up accepting an offer. And now I've been out here for about a month. So it's been really good so far.
What is your role with Amazon? What do they have you doing?
Yep, I'm an account manager. So I basically manage one of our vendors, their day-to-day operations, things they need from our end. So it's been well.
I love it. And Seattle, and hopefully it'll open up a little bit. Seattle's a great city. I haven't been there in a while, but my old recruiting days when I'd get out there, I loved it. You're in the Pacific. You're a long way from Fort Wayne, my man.
Yes, sir. Anytime you guys are out on the West Coast, I'm going to try to make that trip for sure.
We'll come see you. You talked about, we talked a little bit about it's coming to an end, Coach. It may be time to hang up the sneakers. And what's been neat about our guys, and we've had Luke Herringody on just recently, who also retired, one of your old teammates. And our guys have been really good about knowing when, okay, it's probably over. I'm not going to keep chasing the playing career. And now I'm going to use my Notre Dame degree and Notre Dame training and Notre Dame network. And yet you are just another one of them that we're so darn proud of that you were able to do that. Catch us up on your family, because I miss seeing your parents sitting behind the bench hearing the Jack.
They are doing well. My dad is actually back playing. When I was in school, he had the really bad knee surgery and he wasn't playing for a while, but he's back playing, at the Y, things like that. So he's been very excited about that since COVID. And then my mom is doing well too. They're both doing very, very well.
I got to tell, I don't think I ever told you this. Maybe I have. The funny story. So, you're from Fort Wayne. So in the summers, our guys are here in summer school. Coach Solomon did a great job recruiting you and kept getting you up here to play with our guys, at night after camp was over. You'd come up to play. So Coach Solomon's prepping me, said, now, VJ Beachem, he's coming up to play. Him and his parents will be up. And here he is. He's a great fit for us. Mike, we got to get him, and the whole bit. I said, I'm on it. Thanks for prepping me. So you're out shooting around with the guys on the main floor, and the campers are out there. Your dad is standing next to our locker room when I come down the hall from the office. Now, you talk about your dad playing again. Your dad, your dad still looks like he can go again. Now think about this. When you were a rising senior,
right,
in-state, 6'8" player, I walk up, start bumping him up, dapping him up. I think it's you. No, I think it's you. I swear to God, because he's young, he's play, and I'm talking to him, and man, I can't wait to see you play tonight. And he's looking at me like, yo, man, what are you talking about? So again, I'm totally spaced out. We go out and we start watching, and slow, Anthony Solomon comes up. He goes, Mike, that's his old man. I was like, oh God.
Oh man, yeah, that's a good one. That's a good one. Coach.
You got to tell your dad that. I'm like, Coach, the first impression. Anyways, we were lucky enough to get you, and you know what? You were one of those 4-year development guys.
Yeah.
Like a lot of our guys, maybe as a freshman, you're trying to figure it out. Heroes trying to get you stronger. And then all of a sudden, especially when we get to that junior, senior year, a little bit like Leshevsky right now.
Exactly, yeah.
You're right. It really, really starts to take off and get going. Talk a little bit about, you had some great teammates. And my God, you were here for an unbelievable run. Do you stay in touch with your old teammates?
For sure. I talked to Demetrius, a lot. Talked to Bonzi here and there. different guys like Jaron and Pat here and there. And they're all doing very well. So I'm very proud of them. Great to see it. And yeah, I missed out on the pro week. I was in Hong Kong at the time, 2 years ago. I was in Hong Kong at the time. So I missed out on that. But man, that looked great. And the guy said it was a blast. And, just seeing how well they're doing, it's been great, man. It's great to catch up always.
Well, we want to do that again when we can get through this pandemic, and hopefully in July, by then we can get you guys back, because it was really cool. You were playing and you couldn't be part of it, but it was just so neat. We were over in the Morris Inn in Roars and in the restaurant over there, and the stories you guys were telling, and it's really what this place is all about, the kind of young men that we've had. And you're right, Demetrius is here in town, and, we see him a bunch. Luke's over in Chicago. We've got a bunch of Torrey, obviously, coaching. We got a bunch of guys that really, really stick together. Have you you just got to Seattle. Has your parents visited you out there yet?
Nope, not yet. They haven't been able to make the trip yet, but hopefully sometime in the early spring they'll get back out, or they'll get out here. It's a little further than LA was for them as far as flights. But yeah, they're excited to get back out here for sure.
One thing you've been is a world traveler, man. BJ, you just pick up and go. And I think it's been really cool, to just take opportunities and pick up and go. I got to ask you, I know you have many memories. Do you have one that really sticks out from when you played here?
For sure. I think the 2015 run was great. It was kind of like we felt like we had arrived as a program. You know what I mean? Not only the ACC championship, but then the Elite Eight run. But for me personally, the 2016 run, to be playing at the level I was playing, in all honesty, it was a great feeling for our team to make it to the Elite Eight again, have a buzzer beater tip in, and crazy come from behind win the Wisconsin game. That run was, especially special for me.
I think back to the Michigan game, the first game of that NCAA tournament, where you just exploded for us and exploded the rest. And you were all East Regional, which is an unbelievable honor for a young man, to be an all East Regional selection, and drove us to the regional final against North Carolina. But it was interesting. Again, your demeanor in the Michigan game was like you took it to another level, and it was really, really, really cool to see. And
sure, appreciate it, Coach.
No, it's we'll work to get you back here. Hopefully by summer we have a little bit of an opening up, and we can get you back here for Pro Week and visit a little bit. But in the meantime. Yes, in the meantime, are you living in downtown Seattle?
Yep, I'm downtown. So today is actually my first day I'm going to be able to meet my team. I get to go into the office and actually meet my team. We've been working from home. So I'm about a 5-10 minute walk from the office. So right downtown, it's been good, man. I can't complain so far.
I want you to text me if you find this place. I remember our great restaurant in downtown Seattle. I believe it was called Cutters. And it's right. It looked over the water and the bay there, and it was beautiful. If you ever get to that place, send me a picture, because I remember a couple recruiting dinners out there at that place. But know that number one, I miss you. I miss the heck out of you.
Miss you too, man.
It's great to see you, and we're so darn proud of you. We're really, really proud of you, and you've just. You've found a way to keep moving through life and accepting the next challenge. And Amazon basically is very lucky to have you. So you have a team. You have a team to coach, it sounds like.
We all handle different vendors. We just happen to be in the same department.
Gotcha.
So we're all kind of working together. They're handling different vendors, and then I have my own. But this is our first time that we'll actually get to meet each other. So it's going to be exciting for sure.
It's like the first team meeting Labor Day in the locker room, right?
Exactly.
We hand out notebooks and we go through everything. Well, anyways, hey, good luck out there. Stay
Appreciate
safe.
it, Coach.
Make sure you tell your parents I miss them. And
Gotcha.
when we start giving tickets out again, tell them to come up and sit behind the bench. It'll bring back memories.
For sure. I got you, Coach. Man, good to see you. Hope the family's doing well and you guys hang in there.
We're going to keep trying to grind. You be safe, DJ. Take care. Thank you, buddy.
Yes, sir. All right, Coach.
Welcome back to the Mike Brey Show. Notre Dame fans, as you know, Tire Rack is the presenting sponsor of the Mike Brey Show, and like the Irish, knows a thing or two about passion and performance. Their on-site test track is their home court, and they've got a playbook that includes safe, no-contact, mobile installation in many areas. Get your tires right at TireRack.com, the way tire buying should be. Tire Rack also presents our weekly player interview, and joining us now is Irish junior guard Prentiss Hubb. Hubb is Notre Dame's second leading scorer at 14.6 points per game and leads the Irish in assists at 5.1 per game, the second best total in the ACC. Prentiss is in the midst of his best sequence of conference play this season against Boston College, Miami, and Virginia Tech. Hubb has averaged 18 points, 7.3 assists, and 4 rebounds per game while hitting a ton of big shots and playing outstanding defense. Mike, why has Prentiss been so effective these last 3 games?
Well, he's been pretty darn effective ever since he stepped on campus, and it's neat to see him now grow into his body. He's got great strength. I think he's become a better defender the last 3 games and really engaged. And I think it's carried over to his, offensive side of the ball. He's got a great feel on the offensive end. And he is our quarterback, and we got complete faith at him running stuff and calling sets and distributing the ball and then scoring when he has to score for us.
Prentiss, I've been watching you since you arrived on campus, both in games and practice. I know how hard you work, always trying to get better. Where do you think your game is right now, and where do you want to take it in the coming weeks?
I think my game is being able to facilitate and score when needed. And I think that to elevate my game to the next level, to help my team be better, I need to be able to play more consistently at that high level.
Talk a little bit about your one of the things we did after the Virginia road swing is kind of, get down and challenge each other defensively. Talk a little bit about how you're preparing defensively, because I think the last 3 games you have taken it to another level on the defensive end.
I think that battling against each other in practice every day, and you and the rest of the coaching staff really emphasizing that the game, we need to start on defense, and that, our defense has been a little lackadaisical before that Virginia game. And I think that it's helped me a lot being able to just start my game on defense, because when I'm playing more aggressive on defense and with a faster pace, it just helps offense.
Now, Coach, you've recruited a lot in the D.C. area. Of course, you've attracted some really talented guys from your alma mater, DeMatha, but this is the first time you've recruited somebody from DeMatha's arch rival, Gonzaga. Was that a little bit unusual?
No, because he used to beat DeMatha all the time. He basically, Prentiss Hubb owned DeMatha during his career at Gonzaga. That's why it caught my eye. As a 9th grader, he made winning shots against DeMatha in a championship game. That's the first time he kind of came on the radar. But Gonzaga's had a great basketball program and well-coached, good players. It's a great school, so he was really prepared and understood where he was coming, Notre Dame-wise. I love all those DC schools, but Gonzaga's won that league more than anybody lately.
Prentiss, you had a lot of choices, a lot of big-time programs recruited you, schools like Cincinnati, Georgetown, Maryland, NC State, Virginia, Xavier. Why did you settle on Notre Dame?
I really felt I could develop as a player. And along with the great combination of school and basketball and playing the ACC, I wanted to play against one of the best competition day in and day out. And also, I really trusted in Coach Brey and had faith that he could take my game to where I wanted to be. Just talking to him, and he's been recruiting me for a while, and he just we developed that bond together, and I felt as though I could trust him.
Well, the one thing, Jack, and Prentiss knows this, he was a great fit for how we play, and he was a great fit for our place academically. But he was also, I needed him to start as a freshman and give him the ball, and sometimes timing is everything too. And one of the things I really made clear was, look, you come out here, I'm handing the ball to you. And even as a 18, 19-year-old younger body, he made a lot of big plays for us at winning the Boston College game here as a freshman. And we threw him to the Wolves right away, and he's never backed off. Now as a junior, he's more physically ready to kind of do stuff.
Prentiss, I've always noticed that the bigger the challenge, the bigger the opponent, the brighter the light, or the more your team needs you, you always show up and you play well. You set a career high this year with 26 points against Ohio State. And against Virginia Tech, one of the toughest defenses I've honestly ever seen anybody play against Notre Dame. You knew your team needed help. They needed you to deliver. And you basically kept Notre Dame in it throughout the first half. What is it about your game that you are able to get to that next level when you need to do it the most?
It's just my willingness to win. I don't want to, I hate losing. And I mean, we have done a lot lately, but I mean, I just feel like I just want to help in any way possible. If that's coming from defensively, getting steals, assisting to my teammates, or scoring like it was last night. And I think that I want to be the guy that my teammates can rely on, and when they need help, even if it's on the court, that they can always come to me.
Jack, Prentiss has been a great leader for us. And, it's not always been fun, and there's been some frustration because he wants to win more. The both of us do. And I think we've shared our frustration together, the two of us. But, we kind of talk at night and say, look, man, we got to get up tomorrow morning, and we got to lead, and we got to get our guys going, and we're committed to doing it. But I have the utmost respect for him because he plays with a great edge and intensity and want. And that's why I think we'll be able to turn the corner, because you've got a quarterback like Prentiss.
Prentiss, as you said, you hate to lose. You've played a tough schedule. You've played the toughest schedule in the ACC. Heading into last night, it was the 9th toughest in the nation. And with last night's game, I'm sure it's higher when they recalculate today. Does that help your confidence in terms of where this team is, that you are, in fact, about to turn the corner on the season?
Oh, yeah, 100%. We've played a lot of tough teams, and even though we haven't got the outcome we wanted, I think that with every loss, we get it's a learning experience. We figure out things about ourselves to help us get the wins that we're going to need in the future.
Now, your post-college career is going to be basketball. But when that's done, you're majoring in film, theater, and television with a concentration in television. What do you think you'd like to do someday in television?
I haven't really decided yet. I mean, maybe something like what you're doing right now, like sports broadcasting and stuff like that, because I want to, even though if I'm not playing basketball, I want to do something maybe associated with the game, because I'm really passionate about it.
Well, Mike, there's more than a few of your players who have gone on to be very successful in the broadcasting industry, and a few that were here even before you arrived. There's something about this place that makes people good communicators, don't you think?
Yeah, he is the ultimate communicator, and he'll be great in that field, but he's going to make some money playing this game for a while. There's no question about it with the arc that he's on. LaFonso Ellis, Jordan Cornette, as Prentiss knows, two guys from the Notre Dame basketball family who can be great mentors to him at some point when he gets into that.
Because of Prentiss's ability to communicate, He's going to do great running another verbal fast break here. He's done it in the past. Have fun with it again. Prentiss, what is your favorite all-time movie?
Favorite all-time movie, Coach Carter.
First car you ever drove?
2009. My first car, 2009 Chevy Impala.
Favorite musical group or artist?
A rapper named NBA Youngboy.
Who's your role model?
My parents.
One thing the public would be surprised to learn about you.
Besides basketball, I'm really into like video games and stuff like that.
I bet you're really competitive in those too, aren't you?
Yeah.
Favorite NBA player?
James Harden.
Favorite part of practice?
Now, the compete drill helps us get a lot better.
Coach, is he the first person to ever say his favorite part of practice was the compete drill?
You know, I really think our guys have seen a pickup in intensity because of the compete drill. And so they know it's important for them to remind themselves. And I thought our defense, we were competing our backsides off physically against a really physical team last night. So it's helped us. It hasn't paid off as much as we want yet, but we got to continue to do it daily.
It's also an offensive drill too. It helps you work on your one-on-one skills and how to. Because I mean, when we do it, we don't really shoot a lot of jump shots as much, so it helps you find ways to get to the basket a little bit better too.
Mm-hmm.
You know what, Coach? I'm hearing not only a potential future television analyst, I'm hearing a guy who can be a coach. Are you hearing that?
Well, he's a coach now. No, he's like an assistant coach now. I mean, I have. Like he and I talk about sets and stuff, and he has free reign to call stuff. I came into a timeout at Miami the other night, and he had the whiteboard out, and he was moving guys around in the zone. And I sat there and got the heck out of the way because he was running the stuff. So I, when you have a really good quarterback, and I've referred to him as my Mahomes as he is, you got to let them go a little bit and let them play. And I value his feedback because he has a great feel for the game.
So, Prentiss, I'm interested with my follow-up question. You've selected one of the toughest parts of practice as your favorite part of practice. What do you consider to be the worst part of practice?
Probably sometimes when we're going at it, and then we just end early because I mean we got to keep our bodies right, but we're maybe like a tie game when we're going quarters and it's overtime, but we got to stop practice because we got to make sure our bodies are right.
What's the best part of your game right now?
Right now, best part of my game is being able to score the ball and find my teammates.
Part of your game you need to work on the most?
Turning the ball over a little bit less.
Which is better, knocking down a long three, dishing out a terrific pass, or coming up with a big steal?
I'll probably go with a nice pass or alley-oop.
One thing you always hear from Coach Brey in practice?
Let's compete.
Assistant coach who is most like Coach Brey?
He's one of a kind.
Oh, like that answer. Well, in that case, give me a couple words on the assistant coaches, beginning with Rod Balanis.
Coach B. Coach Balanis might be the one of the funniest guys, but you wouldn't expect Coach B to be the funniest guys. But Coach B is one of the funniest guys.
Coach Martin.
Coach Scott Martin. Coach Scott Martin, he plays really hard because we need him in practice some days, and he's always willing to lay his life on the line for us. So.
Coach Humphrey.
Coach Humphrey, he's the person that when I'm doing something wrong, he will for sure be letting me know and always holding me accountable.
Coach Swanigan.
Coach Swanee, don't piss Coach Swan off. Because he doesn't get mad. He doesn't get mad often, but when he gets mad, he's mad.
Yeah, I think I made him mad once, and I've never done it again. Toughest place to play in the ACC?
With fans, probably Duke.
Toughest Notre Dame player to guard?
I would have to go with Cormac and Elijah Morgan.
Best defender on the team?
One of those two.
Best leaper on the team?
He don't have any dunks this year, but I'm going to say Tony Sanders.
Okay. And then, so would he be the best dunker on the team?
You can't give him that because he doesn't have any. So let's go with Nate.
Worst dunker on the team?
Trey Wirtz.
Best dresser on the team?
Me.
Worst dresser on the team?
Matt Zona.
We're halfway through the season, Coach, and Zona's won that one hands down.
Yeah, he has.
Best singer on the team?
Juwan.
Worst singer on the team?
I don't know who else, but I'm probably tied down there with whoever the worst is.
Best comedian on the team?
Me and Tony.
Yeah. Guy who thinks he's funny, but he's really not funny.
Well, I would say TJ, but he's not here anymore. But
he's the reigning not funny guy.
Yeah.
All right. Final question, Prentiss. Free throw shooting competition. Who wins, you or Coach Brey?
Well, I missed 2 free throws last time, and the last time Coach Brey shot free throw, it was nothing but net. So I'm going to have to say he's going to win.
He go give it to me.
Thanks for taking the time to visit with us today, Prentiss.
Oh, no problem. Thank you for having me.
Thanks, Pete. Thanks.
Folks, we will return to wrap up this week's Mike Brey Show, presented by TireRack.com, right after this final timeout. Welcome back to the Mike Brey Show. A busy week continues on Saturday night in Pittsburgh against a Pitt team that has already beaten Duke, swept Syracuse, and features the leading scorer and rebounder in the ACC in Justin Champagnie, who's averaging 20 points and 12 rebounds a game. Plus, Coach, they're another physical team.
Yeah, we've got our hands full. They're going to come after us physically like Virginia Tech did on the defensive end of the floor. And they played well, and they have a player of the year candidate in him. So we take it on the road, compete drill mentality. We won our last road game. Can we bounce back and get a road win again on Saturday night? That's where we're scratching and clawing in this league.
Assuming the schedule remains as it is now, which is a huge assumption this season, this is the toughest stretch of the season for your team in terms of a bunch of games in a short amount of time. Saturday's game will be your team's 3rd game in 7 days, and will also mark the beginning of a stretch of 4 games in 11 days. So how do you balance rest with doing the work and practice you need to do to get better?
Well, even though Cormac Ryan is, probably be questionable and didn't play against Virginia Tech, I think it's great that we have games. We've had 3 1-week breaks, like almost they've become bye weeks. And guys want to play. I want to get games in. I want to play games. And certainly I want to win games, but I want to get them. I want to get a game. So I hope we can play the Pitt game and the Wake game. And then we have a little bit of a segment there before we start playing again on the road at Georgia Tech. And so let's keep the games coming at us. We'll be smart about practice the day after the game, but the day before a game, it's going to be compete drill to remind us of how we got to dig in.
Folks, that will do it for this week's edition of the Mike Brey Show, but we will return again at this time next week to talk about the Pitt and Wake Forest games. The Irish play Wake Forest next Tuesday. We'll also preview Notre Dame's road trip the following Saturday to Georgia Tech. So until next week, for Coach Brey, I'm Jack Nolan. Thanks for tuning in. Stay safe. And as always, go Irish.